Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to finally go through and get some stuff cleared up as to what loss prevention is, how I created it, where it works, why it works in the corporate world, and why the process that I follow throughout my career turns out is the exact congressional process. So when we talk about things like malicious designs, what is a malicious design? I'm going to put one up on the board for you right now. So we've discussed in the past what our Republican style and form of government looks like, right? Looks just like this, right? We have the legislative, we have the executive, and we have the judicial, right? So this has stood for more than a few years, let's just put it that way. Under the pretext, we allowed this foreign entity known as this Bar Association during the Reconstruction Act that looks more like the same crap we declared independence from, incidentally. And that's the four pillars of law, where we have over here, I'm hoping that there's no glare on this, but we'll see how it works out. We have the legislative, the judicial, and the executive, right? But we also have this mechanism up here known as this Bar Association, which back and forth between the judiciary and itself. And its purpose was to undermine this, right? Weaken it. So when we talk about some of the Supreme Court decisions that come out and they say, well, you can take a congressional action as long as it doesn't weaken the Constitution. This is the Constitution, right? This is our style and form of government and how we restrain government, right? So again, in petitioning the legislature in the public sector, that is my equivalent that I always draw the analogy of the board of directors in the private sector corporate world. The executive is the CEO. Okay, so this is why I said, this is one of the reasons why I wanted to teach you guys this process, because again, to me, this is just me doing business. Okay, so over the course of the 230-ish years, or since we've allowed this restructuring act, and what was it, it originally took hold in the New Deal. That was Franklin Delano Roosevelt's New Deal, where you started to see all of these word salad agencies pop up, right? These, these departments, right? So, like I always say, I draw the line of HHS is the same as human resources in the private sector. Okay, so just kind of give you an idea of how I made this correlation. And we've always maintained a certain check and a balance over this because we always kept this small. Well, in their law schools, they don't teach this. This is constitutional law, or what they refer to as con law, right? They teach this, right? Why? Because this is their shit, right? This is all of their crap. That's the reason that for how even up until recent years, most people are like, well, what the hell are you even talking about? Because that doesn't look anything like that. And even the Supreme Court has said, yeah, that's our style and form of government. So they've been hinting at Congress especially in recent history, that this bar, they know what it is. There's been enough history to see how it's repeating itself. Okay, so again, me with my mathematics and my geometry. So let's go back through and say, now that we know how this design over here is what I'm erasing, was how they weakened the Republic. So where are we today? We are today, forgive my artwork because it's horrible. Remember, we've added two pillars, the bar, and then this mechanism over here. So what we end up with is social control constantly attacking our government. This is the malicious design, this Pentagon. This is the shit that we're fighting right here. You want to know, you're not fighting just this anymore. You're fighting this. And in the ideology is, we know what that is. That's Islam. So the four pillars of the Bar Association, which is what we're used to seeing, and we were able to combat that and keep that at bay throughout recent history. It was when the Democrats allowed this fifth pillar to infiltrate our country. Most of you people don't even know what the fuck this even is, much less how to fight it. That's why I said, well, how do we fight that? History teaches us the malicious designs. This is the malicious design. Malicious designs of men must be thwarted. That's the reason I chose that as my job description. Again, teaching, knowing, and understanding that I know the difference between the Republic, right, and this foreign entity, okay, that's been taken over. Before it was just the bar. Well, now we've got this extra mechanism over here that people don't even know what the hell this crap is. This is where all of these policies come in. The majority of these policies happened. Why? Because it's all, what do they call? Oh, social justice, social shit is what, as far as I'm concerned. And it doesn't belong in our style and form of government. So when we talk about the methodology and in that social control, again, how I explain this mathematically through the negative nexus in the civil mechanism is, 1 + 1 = 2, right? That's what we refer to as civility. Okay, well, in this controlling mechanism, they've perverted the style and the practice, right? That's why I always said, the law doesn't mean jack shit if nobody's practicing it the way it's written and intended. Well, what they did when they changed it to this multiplication, this prosecution, they were able to insert these negative variables into the equation to get it to come out to equal 1. This is what they did to the Roman Empire. If you read the rise and fall of the Roman Empire, you would know this. Again, go back through history. I've read Sun Tzu. I've read 1984. I've read Moby Dick. I've read all of that crap. I mean, that was required reading throughout my job. One of the reasons why I get attacked so much is because I know this and I'm kicking the shit out of it. That's the reason that I get attacked. Make no mistake about it. My enemy knows that I know who they are. And they tugged on the wrong emolument when they came after me. And now I'm going to break my foot off in their ass. So this is why you hear about toxic masculinity. Oh my God. Give me a fucking break. Right? So when you want to know why I am mandated, I said I'm going to do this on a small scale. So once we undo it and unscrew it, we can duplicate it and go in there and remove these extra pieces that don't belong, do it correctly so we don't lose the original, the Republic. We want to keep this. Even the Supreme Court has said, no, you're not going to institute Agenda 21. Let's just put it that way. That's what the Pentagon thing is. So let's just call that spade a spade. So we're going to keep our executive, we're going to keep our legislature, keep our judicial. Make no mistake about it. When this is all said and done, and once the dust settles, this is what we're going to have. The court has even decided that it's heard enough of this argument, not just from me, but from various other people doing various other things. That's why I tell everybody, do what you're good at, right? I happen to be good at this thing we call in the private sector loss prevention. Okay? This is the management mechanism of private sector corporations. I know what those designs are. My job was to thwart that shit. That's what my job was. So, again, when I started to recognize it happening in our government, I recognize a takeover one, or I know a corporate takeover when I see one. I've done both sides of that. I was participant in the taking over and participant in the thwarting part of it. So I know what the hell is going on. I've forgotten more about this crap than these freaking law school lawyers will ever know, because they're not even taught the basics. They don't even know what this is. So that's why when we go back to the Kavanaugh hearings, one of the things that they focused on him during the hearing, if you go back and you listen to it, was how he teaches what they call in law school con law, constitutional law. So one of the reasons that this academia, that's how they did this. They altered our style and form of government through academia, right? They changed how law is taught and how law is practiced. That's why Kirk and I always joked about it. Did you go to law school? Did you pass? Well, whether they passed or whether they didn't is fucking irrelevant, because they weren't even taught the basics of con law. So how can you sit there and say, oh, I'm practicing law? You're not practicing shit. You're practicing bar crap. That shit over here, that's that shit we declared independence from. Your bar card, you are allowed to do what you do contingent based on you don't pull those same declared acts of tyranny again. That was the fifth branch. That's how they're getting away with it. That's the political crap that you guys aren't seeing that I do see. Like I said, I know this. I've seen this process many times. I know how to take over a corporation. Hell, not only do I know how, I was pretty damn good at it. So I said, well, do you think you're going to take my work and use it the way you used Oppenheimer's work? No, you're not. No, you're not. See, I always joke about that. If you read down through the bottom of my paperwork, that's why I finished with the seventh angel of wrath. That quote is in the margins of Oppenheimer's notes. So, again, this is what I talk about when I say the malicious designs of men must be thwarted. That malicious design is this Pentagon thing. This is shit made up. It doesn't belong here. Right? So the Democrats are trying to superimpose this social control over domestic tranquility. And I think it was in like the 1950s. I want to say it was either 53 or 55. This was actually discussed in Congress. And if you go back and you read those minutes, they clearly state that this is the reason that Islam is not compatible with Western society. It's this difference right here. This is the design. So if you want to know what you're fighting, how and why you're fighting it, there it is right there. So again, not only do I not care that I'm being attacked, I'm actually encouraging it. And I'm going to tell you why. Because the more they attack me, the more attention they draw to themselves. That's exactly what I want them to do. They think they're hiding. They think they're going to hide behind this separation of powers crap, right? No, you're not. No, you're not. Because we've gotten the attention of the judicial. When I was mandated to stand here basically, right? He said, we're going to do this case right here. The judge said, okay, no problem. I don't know what the hell loss prevention is, but I'm sure you're going to teach me. I said, you bet your ass I'm going to teach you. So I'm going to stand right here, and I'm going to go in, and you can watch the presentations on the whiteboard. As a matter of fact, the judges is the reason I created eClause, the YouTube page. They get, they don't want to do Facebook, and they don't want to do Twitter, and they don't want to do all that shit, but they will search YouTube. And that's, and again, when I'm done with this, I'll upload it to YouTube just for them. So that was the reason that I'm taking my company in a new direction in 2019, is because these services that I used to provide specifically only to private corporations, well, again, how do we put the genie back in the bottle? Well, again, that is what we've always done in the private sector, managing those market advantage, profit margin, and capital gain. That's those private sector emoluments that I'm always talking about, right? So, again, it was showing them that I know so much about this. I know right where the rubber meets the road. The rubber meets the road at the emolument. That's where the rubber meets the road. So that's the reason the Democrats are trying to pervert the word, the meaning of the word salad, right? I know it. The judges know that I know it, and they're just standing there going, this is going to be good. And that's exactly what they're doing. So, and you know what? That's exactly what I want them to do, because guess who else finally figured this out? Lindsey Graham, Trey Gowdy, all those people that are in the, let's see here, Devin Nunes and all those guys. They know where these bad actors in government are. They just didn't know how the hell to get rid of them. I said, you want to get rid of them? Oh, I know how to get rid of them. We're going to go do this, and this is how we did it in the beginning, and this is how we're going to do it today, right? So whether we keep this representative democracy corporation or not, it's still not going to have its main component. That bar and its actors are going to report directly to Congress the way I do it. They will practice loss prevention, or they won't practice. End of discussion. So, again, this is what I say when I say we're going to hold these attorneys, these actors, to a high standard. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I mean. And there's enough people that know what I do, how I do it, and why I do it, to know that this is how we beat Agenda 21. That son of a bitch is going to go down, and it's going to go down quickly. It's going to go down quietly, and ain't nobody even going to know it was even there. So, but as far as the hows and the whys and all of these, and I'm not even going to go down the list, because as far as I'm concerned, these people are so goddamn stupid. They don't even deserve honorable mention on my video, so I'm not even going to mention their names, because they're stupid, they're morons, and all they know how to do is go around and whine and cry about how they're getting their asses kicked. Well, you know what? Your problem. You created this mess. You deal with it. And that's the way it's going to be. So on that note, I did want to just give a quick shout out again to the good actors that I know, the ones that I've worked with specifically. Again, the Honorable J.P. Cohen, the Chief Judge at the 5th District Court of Appeals here in Florida. He knows exactly what's going on. He knows why I'm doing it. It's why he granted me standing. I'm literally standing at the same eye level with that hearing officer who I'm arguing with in my case. And he's telling them that I know exactly what I'm doing. So when I take an action, I'm talking over top of that outfit from Gainesville, whatever the hell their name is. I can't even say their name right now. I'm talking over top of them. I'm talking directly to the court. So, and again, because I don't abuse the privilege, and when I say something, I mean it, and it's lawful. Whether it's pointing out a case, whether it's pointing out a maxim of law, whether it's pointing out something in the argument, whether it's pointing out a piece of evidence. They've also found that they tugged on the wrong emolument when they tugged on this string, I can tell you right now. And as far as I'm concerned, pointing out that Lady Justice was the victim in every one of my cases, that was the right answer. And that's one of the reasons I posted the paperwork for you guys so you would know and understand how to make that argument that Lady Justice is the victim. That's the ideology that I just put up here on the whiteboard. Watch how they plead or how they practice that indoctrination bullshit. I'm serious. Don't take my word for it. Go watch it. We're going to rape your women and children. We're going to, it's ridiculous. So don't stand there and tell me how peaceful these people are. You're full of shit. You know it. I know it. You know that I know it. And now you're done. So that said, I wanted to make sure going into 2019 and where the company's headed in its new direction, this is how McDonald's sold how many bajillion hamburgers, right? Kirk's favorite example. Duplication. I will duplicate E-Claws all over the country. And the ones who want to do it and do it the right way, they're going to be successful. The ones who are going to try to buck the system and go back to their old shit, they're going to be gone, man. And how far gone they are is going to be entirely up to them. They're going to do all the work, and we're just going to sit back there and go, will you dumb shits ever learn? So, in essence, that's where we are. That's where I'm heading in 2019. That's the direction the company's going. And look forward to a whole lot more videos like this. I'm going to start doing some of the short ones, and in the next one, I'm going to go over what the difference is between, I know John just did this, so I'm going to watch his and find out, pick up kind of where he left off. The difference between the remonstrance parliamentary inquiry, just to name two. Okay, what's the difference between them? The first one is to point out a specific action. Okay, you want a scope document to investigate this specific action, whatever the action was, whether it was they came in and took your kids, whether it was they unlawfully raided your house and searched your house for whatever without a warrant, or whatever it was they did. If you want to do what I do, there are plenty of you out there who are good at this, so don't tell me that you don't know how to do this. Especially my programmer people. Programmer people know a whole lot about process. What do the ones and zeros look like? You would be the ones to file the parliamentary inquiry. And I'm going to tell you why. Because you've written this code so many times, you know what it looks like. So when we ask, what process are you following to do the crap that you did that led to the remonstrance, right? This is us. This is me being detail-oriented as I am. And I am very detail-oriented. Anybody who's ever worked with me will tell you that. I want to know who, what, when, where, why, and how. So it won't happen again, and I can defend against it properly. So that's the reason that I chose the parliamentary inquiry. So again, if you want to read what I did, you're more than welcome to. I posted it out there for those of you who I believe can do it. And there are plenty of people out there that are very skilled. They know what they're doing. So, I mean, they don't need, only thing they needed for me was the key word, the relationship of the emolument, what the word is, what it means, and why the bar has specifically been avoiding it for 230 years. Well, why? Because they're a monopoly, and they know that emolument can't exist. It's a foreign entity. That's the reason that they've danced around the word emolument throughout their entire existence. That's the struggle. That's where the tension comes from. You know, we talk about where the friction comes from. You know, friction comes from where the rubber meets the road. That's the emolument, right? So again, this is why I said, you know, going way back to the monopoly argument, growth is painful, but it is not impossible. The court agreed. It is what it is, people. I mean, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. then let's do it right. Let's quit screwing around. So, you want to fight about, whose version of history is right or whatever. Well, go sit in a classroom and, enjoy those arguments, because most of that is shit made up anyway. Everybody knows Ponce de Leon was the first Frenchman to come here from the European countries. Not Christopher Columbus. He came later. He came in like 1492, I think. But anyway, that's why I said, you take your time. History is history. Not going to change it. You can argue about it, but in the here and the now, you have to know what the thing is you're fighting. And the thing we're fighting is this foreign ideology, this social control, and it's in the shape of the Pentagon. Ironically, I don't know if you're speaking a little bit of history. I don't know if you guys knew this. September 11th, 1941 was day one of the construction of the Pentagon. September 11th, 2001 was the day that it was supposedly attacked by an airplane, So 60 years to the day. Kind of give you an idea of, this isn't shit made up. This is shit that's been in the makings. That's why I said it's too mathematically perfect for it not to be. So, again, I'm going to enjoy this. And in 2019, yeah, it's going to be a fun year. For me and E-Claus, it's going to be a great year. You're going to be expecting to see a whole lot more of this, and a whole lot more people bitching about this. Because, again, if they're going to business to make money to work in government, no problem. You will be regulated, you will be limited, and you will be limited. That scope document, whatever the scope is. So I always say I don't mind being limited to that scope because it makes my job easier, to be honest with you. But again, so I said this is kind of cool. I'm literally back in the saddle doing what I always loved doing anyway, which was fiddle farting around to playing these little games with these people and watching them get all pissed off and screw with each other in these different departments and whatever they do. But anyway, let me see if I got any questions in the comments here. See if I can answer anything. Yeah, Randall Stone, don't do me a favor. Calling me on the this Facebook thing. I took that crap off my phone, dude, because it doesn't work. You're gonna have to call me on my phone. You got my number. Let's see. Yeah, what's going on, everybody? D and Alan and Pete, the real deal, Pete McNeil. Love you, brother. Kicking ass, man. Loving that. Yeah, hang on. Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, that's true. Believe it or not, one of the best things you can do for yourself, guys, is just take this example, man. Just that's why I put it out there for you. Okay, I've shown you where I got it, but it doesn't matter where I got it. The fact of the matter is it's already in there. They're expecting it. They want more. So, create your certificate of interested persons, whether that person's a bad actor or whether that person just has information on your case. Most of the times you're going to find out on your certificate of interested persons, those are people that just have info on your case. They know nothing about you. They know nothing about anything. They know nothing about nothing other than, oh yeah, I got a report on that. Here's the file number. And so-and-so reported da-da-da-da-da. So I just made notation of it. Here's my notes. And, it's little stuff like that. Believe it or not, exculpatory evidence is hidden within those little reports. This is all stuff you don't see. Again, having done this job, this is stuff that I saw and how I knew right where to go find it. So that's why I wanted to share this with you guys, was my process on how I investigate this and know where to go find it. So, again, just don't get so mechanical in reading the paperwork. The mechanics are already done. I mean, we'll do mechanical stuff on down the road, but the process is there. It comes from established mechanisms that came out of the court. So if you want to put forth your remonstrance or your habeas or your parliamentary inquiry, whatever you want to call it, most of you first timers, I always recommend the remonstrance because it's written in law and the construction of the document comes from the court. So again, this is the benefit of, ironically, taking lemons and making lemonade. We've already got bar members sitting in Congress. So use them as they're intended. Create your paperwork to look like something that they themselves have used or written. Make it legible. And remember, they've never heard of you. They know nothing about you. They know nothing about your case. All they know is what you put in front of them. Excuse me. The rest of it, they're going to have to investigate. So, again, pointing out things that were missed, purposefully hidden from the record. These are just basics. Because when they look at your paperwork and then they look at the case and they go, yeah, this is totally altered. This isn't the same thing. Why didn't this report appear here? Because he's got a copy of it. Why ain't it on the case? And it's making them ask those questions of the situation that's going to provoke them into, hey, I know I need to write a scope document for this matter, for this case, and turn that over to the investigative person, whoever agency or whoever handles that particular issue. And this is how you use the tools of government to your benefit. Because again, if we talk about on the show, and I've put it up on the board for you many times, that's all fun to talk about in academia. The difference between the theory and the practice is take those templates that I put out there for you and use them for your advantage. I mean, if you want to quote me on it, all I think I need you to do is just send me an email, eclausllc@gmail.com. Tell me that you're going to put my either amicus, judicial report, weaponized family court, anything you want to use. It's there for you to use it. If you want to use it and you would like me to submit some type of an answer, whatever, because I do that all the time. I get calls, why do I have this in front of me? Why are you even here? And I'll say, okay, well, here's who I am. Here's what I do. Here's how I came into being. And I will explain the nuts and bolts of loss prevention and how that process they're reading was created and why that litigant believes that methodology, that ideology, and that process is similar enough to their situation that it might help you make an informed decision based on the truth and the facts and, whatever the other elements of the case are, I don't know, but kind of lead them in the right direction. And, oh, by the way, we get that there's been shit made up. We get it. And sometimes just hearing that from a third party, somebody outside of the case, kind of makes them think a minute and they go, okay, so you're pretty much aware of this. Well, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I've never met you. You've never met me. I was doing this other thing that I was doing that we call loss prevention before we met. Why? The question you need to ask yourself is, why am I teaching it to you? And it's like, yeah, that's a good question. So, it's sometimes it's those little third party interveners, those little conversations or little letters that I'll send back and forth. That actually has the desired effect of saying, hey, you need to look at this with a friend. You really do. That's called an in de novo review, by the way. So, again, many of them across the country have seen this. These reports are published in Congress, in the Library of Congress. They're available to read. Again, and here's the best part about it. The trolls that are following John and Kirk and I as of late, the only thing they did was just painted a target on their own back, man. It was what it is. One of the local guys at the comptroller's office says to me the other day, what's this crap going on social media? I'm like, dude, fuck, I don't know. What the hell do I know? I don't care. He's like, yeah, you're not hurting anybody. You're not over here arresting anybody. You're not prosecuting anybody. What the hell are they even talking about? I'm like, I don't know, dude. He's just like, he goes, you got some stones to go out there and talk this shit in the open. He goes, I'd never do it. And I'm like, well, hey, this is what happens when you piss the guys off. We say, we're going to come out there. We're going to come out swinging and smack you around a little bit. But anyway, I guess that's enough of that. We will be back on Friday. Kirk and I discussed it last night. We will be doing a show on this Friday. So that said, much love, everybody, and we will see you on Friday.